before you take this person to imprison, did you first think the reason as to why he did that? Did you think that this person could be suffering from pedophilia? You ask me what is pedophilia, and I'll tell you. Pedophilia is a state of mind where the person is sexually attracted to the child.
Students misbehave day by day. Do you want to tell me that students, today there's a case of stealing, students go home. Tomorrow, there's a case of bullying, students go home. So that one can be a solution to the malpractices in school? No!
Welcome to a very, very wonderful episode of the Great Debaters Contest. This is the Connect edition. We analyze, dissect the debates of the week and give you a fresh veteran outlook. I'm Austin Yombok, and let the team introduce themselves.
Respite.
Chris Boru, geomatic engineering student at Jomo Kenyatta University.
Rodney Wesonga, law, JKUAT.
Julian Keshi, actual science, JKUAT Karen.
Very well. One of our debut motion today is actually Njeri's High School versus Graceland Girls, and they were actually analyzing this very interesting motion that school attendance should be made optional as a respite to malpractices in schools. What are your sentiments on that, Julie?
The debate was actually interesting.
Yeah. You don't sound interested.
It was because they had facts and they had nice points to back them up. One of the points I remember was about how teachers beat children in school. And if you have to, when you go home and you know the teacher's going to still come and beat you, I think you should just stay at home and just come do your exams if you're smart. And if you can do it you can read it for yourself.
Rodney, looking at it from the perspective that, fine, I'm scared for my welfare, or I'm genuinely scared for my welfare in school, and therefore I'm going to go to school only, let's say, if it's really, really mandatory, i.e. there's an exam, or maybe something that I must actually attend. Do you think that would actually work in such a rigid education system that we have?
I don't think it will work. Reason being is that not everybody who goes to school is there because it is mandatory or it is for your benefit. There are those who, I remember in primary, there's one guy who used to say he's only in school because the mother will beat him if he doesn't go to class. So to him, it was more of like a punishment to go to school. So when you make it like it is, you make it like it's your choice. If you want to go to school, go. If you don't want, you can stay at home. That is a direction that it's more of like you're advocating for homeschooling. And in my opinion, it will bring about laxity. And the spirit, being in a classroom. I remember there's one time we debated about having an institution for a classroom or going to study at home. Because if you advocate that going to class is optional, it means that you're advocating for homeschooling, which in my opinion does not bring the best out of a student.
True. Chris, what are your sentiments on that?
I think I'll support Rodney. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Growing up was tough for me, personally speaking, just like him. I don't know his, but I know my pain. I have scars to prove it.
Okay. That's serious. If you have scars.
No. I'm not complaining. If you ask me this question then, I'd totally be against what I'm saying right now. But the truth of the matter is that cane really helps. Actually, today, these days, leave alone even school. Let's just divert a bit from the motion. Let's go back home to a caning system. Kids...
There's a caning system.
Trust me, in a good disciplinarian, if you have a father, especially fathers who are good disciplinarians,
they have a caning system.
There's a caning system.
Okay.
I went through different caning systems that made me who I am today.
Caning system.
When I say caning systems, I say there are different methods of being caned. They're different. Slippers, there's the belt. There are days when it starts at the gate.
Going back to the motion, Noor, could you finalize with informing us what you think the repercussions would be if we made school attendance optional?
First of all, the development of the child will go down because we need the child to grow up in a way that he knows that in life you have to have some rules to grow up with. And also the education of the child will be hindered. Some of them are not smart enough that they can study at home and then go to school and pass. Some of them need the teacher, some of them need the other student to help them to pass. So if you make it optional for the students to go to class, it would bring the education sector down.
Okay.
But I
Julie?
think also attendance should be mandatory, because it's not only education you're accepting, but also you're learning about to live with other people. Because if you do homeschool, it's just you and yourself, and you're the teacher, and plus the teacher. But in school, you learn how to communicate, to live with people who you can't stand, people who you can stand. It teaches you more.
And it enables a young individual to grow up holistically.
Exactly, and to understand the environment nicely. Because just if you compare the two, even scientifically or something, put the two, one who's at home, one who's been with friends or in school. The one who has been friends in school will be easily
Sociable.
exactly with compared to the other person, would be very hard for them to come and start a conversation.
True. Now, let us analyze another motion. We have Kegutu Boys High School versus Chinga Girls, and they were of their motion was that Kenya should enforce regulations and tax rules in order to curb commercialization of religion. This is a very fresh motion, judging by what has happened in the recent past in regards to the Kanyari incident, and many sort of churches or small religious institutions have come out of the woodwork and have been exposed to, exploit their congregation. There was even a WhatsApp audio that was going around, Breast and Honey Deliverance Church around. It really goes to show the extent to which society has literally commercialized religion and also has turned religion into individuals' own money-making activity. Chris?
My opinion is that they shouldn't. Religion has its own beliefs. Everyone believes in their own God. We don't know. I'm a Christian. Noor is a Muslim, for example. I respect her religion as a Muslim, and she respects mine as a Christian. And whatever are her beliefs, I wouldn't want to, press a wrong button or start a wrong topic, which I don't know about. And she wouldn't want to do the same. So in my opinion, I wouldn't tax them. He or she, as a religious leader, has a reason of requesting 310. For him, he went back to the Bible and said, 310 or something has a symbolic meaning. That's he was requesting for 310. And but initially, I'd say that about asking for money from guys, I wouldn't be for it. But in my beliefs, I'd tithe for the church, I'd give money, and I wouldn't want that money to be taxed. I've already been taxed. Remember, I'm working.
You've already carried the cross of
I've already been taxed once. Why
faith.
tax again my church money? Let it go to where I want.
Okay, Nuru, could you shed some light on that? Do you think that all religious institutions, should sort of be regulated by the government or any relevant body to ensure accountability and sort of, curb this commercialization of religion?
Okay, I wouldn't recommend that these religious institutions to be taxed, because some of these religious institutions use the money that they get from its congregation to support other people.
True, that was actually one of the major arguments based by the opposition.
Because some of these religious institutions are somehow affiliated with children's homes. They help the needy and all that. They build schools and all that. So if you tax them, how are they going to help these people who are in need? Because we can't always depend on the government to help these people. We need other non-governmental institutions to help. So let's not tax them. Instead, let's help them help the needy.
Very well. Rodney?
To start off, most religious institutions have to be registered. That is a requirement by law, and it's not free. You have to pay a certain amount of money.
True.
So when we come to the issue, I'll start off by saying the issue of Kanyari. The reason why no legal action was taken against him is because he was in no violation of any law. There is no law that states where you send, because he used an advertisement to actually persuade you to send that money. He didn't hold a gun at your face. He didn't hold a knife at your chest. He requested you send 310.
Maybe
You
argue,
did it.
okay, just outside the legal system. Maybe can we argue that he leveraged
Yes.
your faith
I'm getting it.
on a
I'm
particular sum of
getting to
money?
that.
Don't you think that is
I'm getting to that
a manipulative form of persuasion?
because it is a form of persuasion. He did it. He didn't force you to send that 310. You, in your correct state of mind, in a sober mind, you sent that 310 because you believed that what he was doing was right. Kenya, we're not a religious nation. We are a secular nation because there's no particular religion that we face that this is our religion. There are different religions that we have given the liberty to the people to follow. So when we come to the government actually entering into now religious beliefs and saying we want money from what you get, that is not, it's not a principle that is in the Constitution, and we should not follow it because my beliefs should not be the business of the government. It is me and my God. If I decide to send 310 to a pastor, I have decided to send it. He didn't hold a gun or he didn't hold a knife at my neck. I chose to do it. So that is where the law will not come in, and it should not come in, because in the end, we do believe that the law is made to protect us. At the same time, we do believe the law is shy. We cannot make decisions that will put us to increased scrutiny.
So, from your opinion, trying to regulate and basically impose this taxes on churches would be a bit misguided. Do you think so?
In my opinion, it would be misguided because in the end, nobody forces you to go to a particular church. You choose. I want to be a Muslim. I want to be a Christian. I want to be an atheist. It's not a crime. There's nobody who will take you to jail for not believing in God.
Okay, Julie, finalize.
That's just a way to be greedy. There's no other way to say it. Because, as you said, it's your right. And then, first of all, you're being taxed from the beginning. Why are you taxing me again? Instead of them looking at the point of taxing religious, there are some people not removing tax in this country, and they earn billions. So it's easy. Deal with those first. Because as she said, this money is being used for a greater deed. It's being used for people who don't have schools, people who don't have education. So if you come and tax them, you will give these people less education, and you won't even come help them one way or another. So let the guys have the money to educate other people, then don't even get involved in simple English.
Feel free to join the conversation on Twitter and tell us what do you think about whether religious institutions should be regulated and consequently taxed. See you after the break.
May try his or her best. The family may combine and try his or their best to ensure that a child follows the right track. But unfortunately, it's in their own perception that they take it and decide to follow the track.
The government cannot pick exactly which church to regulate and tax. How are you going to know which one is true, which one is legit, and which one is false? There is no criteria that can be used to correct that.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is an episode of the Great Debaters Contest Connect Edition, and our motion that we're discussing today is between Mwega High School and General China. The motion was child molesters should be rehabilitated rather than face imprisonment. Rodney, give me your 2 cents on that.
The debaters brought out the motion fairly. I'd say it was fairly done. Considering such a motion, in my opinion, I expected them to focus on what the kind of penalties that are there, especially in the Sexual Offences Act, defilement, and rape. Because defilement is for children at the age of 18, and above 18 is what we call now rape. So many people confuse this too. When a child below the age of 18 is sexually abused, we don't call it rape, we call it defilement. And there are different kinds of punishments for different types of ages. Below the age of 10, it's 20 years and above, and a magistrate or a judge cannot give less than that. 15, from 11 to 14 years, above 15 years, can even be 15 to life imprisonment, as long as it's above 15 years. 16 to 17, it's 10 years and above. So depending on the type of crime committed, there are different types of punishments. So in the end, rehabilitation is not the best kind of punishment because, in my opinion, it does not have a deterrent effect.
Very well. Julie, now that Rodney has sort of dissected the entire legality of, rehabilitating them, right? Do you think that, like abroad, in the US, I don't know if we have it here, or if you're actually been charged as a sexual offender, yes, you're sort of put on like a watch list. Yeah, yeah, like you become a registered sexual offender, such that when you go to apply for a job or anything, it can actually be pulled up, and by there you're a registered sexual offender. Do you think that's a better deterrent in terms of reducing the rates of child molestation?
First of all, why are you molesting a child? It's a child, but I'll support that and also disagree with that, because the first thing is there's some people who, when they molest a child, and they regret it a lot. It was bad for them and they'll really, really regret it. And others who don't care, it'll be like a habit. They get the pleasure from molesting a child. So if you do that for someone who has learned his lesson, it'd be so bad, because I believe that thing is you should stay 10 feet away from any child. If you fall next to any child, you'll be arrested, yeah? So, first of all, for those guys who can't get easy jobs, you can't work at a construction site with a school. You can't work where the children are passing. That's limiting your job opportunities. And yet you've paid your debt and you feel so bad about it. But the others, actually, that should work. And I think we should implement that, because if you do that, you won't get next to a child.
Now, we're sending child molesters. We're ensuring that child molesters face the prison sentences. What guarantee do we have that when they exit these prisons, when they stop, as in when they finish their incarceration, what guarantee do we have that they will no longer molest children?
The motto for prisons is usually kurekebisha na haki. That's their motto. And I think when you go to prison, it's not that you're just going to be imprisoned like that. You'll be imprisoned and you'll be rehabilitated. The only difference of a rehabilitation center is that you're not imprisoned. You still there's some things you won't do, but you're not that entirely limited by the government. So that's the work of the rehabilitation in the prison, to ensure that by the time you've left in a good conduct. Because there's no way you'd stay 15 years in prison because of what you did, and you end up not getting the sense of why you were there. It takes 26 days to make a habit, and it takes 26 days to break a habit.
No, before we give Rodney to clarify on the legality of what Chris has stated, do you think that the rehabilitation facilities that we have in Kenya can be trusted to ensure or guarantee us positive change in behavior?
I'd say we have all the equipment to make us better, and the rehabilitation centers in Kenya are enough, and they can make us better if we are ever taken there. And when it comes to molesters, there's a difference between a molester and a pedophile. A pedophile is a person who is attracted to a younger child from the age of 13 downwards.
And I think the debaters highlighted that difference.
And that's a pedophile, that is a state of mind, and that person can be rehabilitated. But a molester, I don't think that person deserves to go to the rehabilitation center. That just has to go to prison. He just has to go to prison.
Okay, Rodney, cap us off with the legality of Chris's statement.
What Chris said is partially true, and it's also misguided a bit. Once you commit an offense, even if you're released, it still goes on record, but it's the Director of Public Prosecution who has your file. It's not everywhere for the public to see. So the next time you're brought to court, the magistrate usually asks, is this a first-time offender? And if the prosecutor has a file, they will state your previous crimes. So once you commit an offense, if it's a sexual offense in Kenya, if I don't know you, you don't go with a tag written on your forehead, I am a sexual offender, I will not know once you're released. It's not like in the US, whereby if I want to give you a job, I can run your name in the system and it will show me all your details since the time you were born. In Kenya, all your criminal records stay with the DPP. It's not in the public domain for everybody to see unless it is brought out in the papers, is where people will know you're an offender, so such and such. For what Nuru said, even if you're a pedophile, proving that you're such is a process. And so far in our judiciary, I have not seen any case where somebody has won or has been released on the grounds of being a pedophile. If you committed the offense, you get what is written in the Sexual Offences Act. There is no clause, I have not seen any, correct me if I'm wrong, where there's an excluding pedophiles. No. You go to court as an accused. If you're found guilty of, we usually call it, if you're found guilty of penetration, then you go to jail.
Very well. Now we'll go straight to the next debate. That was Leshao boys versus Karima boys. And this is a bit lengthy. The family institution bears more responsibility for the moral decadence in the society today.
Charity begins at home, and I blame the roots of where that person has come from. Whoever will, personally, we've known each other for some time, and the way you can judge me, if it was negative, I could tell, and if it is positive, I am saying it. That's I'm sure I'm in good books with you. So if I was on the wrong, you tell the norm. You didn't tell me, but the people you'd talk to was that Chris was not raised properly. At the end of the day, it's, were you raised properly? And even these people who, in our previous motion, the sexual offenders and molesters, it's the environment they were put in, and an environment you're in. Remember, there was a time we were debating, we were talking about an issue, and I talked about an offspring being moved from its environs and put in an environment that he or she is not adapted to. It will take you time for you to adapt. You will not fail to adapt, you will adapt. I'm a Borana from Marsabit. I grew up, part of my life, I grew up in Central. I went to primary and high school in Central region, and I adapted to the climatic change. It's very cold in Nyeri, and it's very hot in Marsabit. But at the first year in Nyeri, I felt, we felt out of place. This is not the climate to be in. We were very sick. But with the time, we got adapted to it. Right now, I can wear a t-shirt and go to Nyeri and not feel anything. And the same case when I go to Marsabit, I'd wear so many hoods and jackets, and I won't feel the heat because I'm already adapted to it. The same case in our situation, a family. If an offspring, which is a child, for example, has grown up in a family whereby there's a history of molestation, or there's a history of something negative, that child might there's a possibility, it's higher than 50% that he will end up being like that.
So, Julie, do you think that the family, in general, is responsible for most of the ills or the positive things that are in society today?
Yes and no.
Okay, why? Why such a double-edged answer?
Yes, because most of the people, when they see their husbands or their fathers beating their mom, they'll grow up with this mentality that women are supposed to be under men. So even him, when he gets into a family, he'll beat the wife. And this is because he learned this from the house, and no one taught him the way. And that's something that parents need to know, that whatever you show your kids, they're learning. You're their role model. There's no one else who teaches them life. It's you. So if you keep on talking bad or talk bad up to your kids or treat them like they're nothing, there will be nothing because of you. And is some people have decided the parents don't even care about the kids. So you'll find a family who the parents are working 24/7. Okay, not care, but they are not given the opportunity to care about their children because maybe they work from 8 to 8. Come home, the kids are asleep. Wake up in the morning, their kids have gone to school. So who have they left the kids to take care of? House helps or the nannies or anyone. So the kids end up getting the morals or the let me explain
Vices.
tabia of the people who are teaching them. So it's whoever is nurturing. Even friends can be your. This is not why you act in that way. If it depends on if your parents are really active in your life and they're not active in your life. If they're active, you'll take their personalities. If they're inactive, your friends or your surrounding.
So, no, in our contemporary society, yes, don't you think the family's influence has sort of been eroded?
I'd say that's true, because some of the youth today, if you see them, they're not acting like the way our parents used to act. They're acting differently. Some of them, you find that they wear skimpy clothes. Some of them just take up drinking habits. Maybe the mom or the dad don't have it. They just get it from the outside surrounding, from their friends, from the internet. So we really cannot blame the family for the eroding of moral behaviors. We just have to see some other factors that lead to this decaying of the morals.
Very well, thank you very much, my wonderful panel. And join us, our audience, on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. Let us discuss and try and analyze whether our family has actually failed as an institution that is supposed to instill moral values to the next generation. I'm Austin Yambok, and thank you for watching the Great Debaters Contest Connect Edition.